I'm a skinny loser and I hate how I look and feel. All I ever wanted was to fit in, be accepted, and stop feeling bad about myself. If only there was a way to fix me. There is. If you follow these 4 steps, you will build the body that you are actually proud of and unlock the confidence you have always been lacking, just like I did for myself. And the first step is not actually part of some method or some specific weightlifting plan, but it's more so understanding the power that you have right now, and it's harnessing your true dark side that lives within you. You have to understand that you are in one of the most pivotal points in your life, bro. This is the make or break moment. This is the point where you look in the mirror and you hate how you look. You're skinny, you're a loser, you're lonely, you feel insecure. This is where you have the opportunity to change, and we need to rewire your brain to actually want to change. See, I need you to understand that this fear you have right now, the insecurity, the fear of not being able to get the girl you want, not being able to ever be attractive, not being able to ever feel like you're fitting in. Just like Yoda says, if you're a Star Wars geek, you know what I'm about to say. Fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering. But the question I have for you here is, how do you want to suffer? You can either throw in the towel like a little pussy and choose the suffering of never actually taking action and being skinny, being ugly, being a lonely loser forever and hating your existence. Or you can pick the suffering of training hard, of fixing your life and leveling up and completely changing everything. And if you're watching this video, then I have hope that I know what type of man you are. You are the man who wants to suffer through making a change. And once you can understand and own this hatred and this dark side that you have to yourself, that will be the ultimate motivator. It's the man who is not content with where he's at. That's the man that makes the most progress. So you are in the most powerful position right now. So step 1 is to understand that you must recruit this hatred. You must use this fucking anger and this pissed off energy that you have inside of you. Use the hatred inside of you as fuel, and you will never ever give up. And I promise you, you will achieve the body that you want, and you will have the confidence that you have always desired. Now, step 2 is where we actually get into the lessons and the specific action steps that you must take to fix your skinny body and build an attractive body that you are actually proud of. And what you need to understand right now is that we need to be putting on weight. You're skinny right now, you're frail, you look like a fucking Minecraft skeleton. We need to gain weight. And the way we're going to do this is obviously through eating food, but we're going to do something called bulking. Now, bulking basically means that you are eating more than your body requires to stay at the same weight, which means over a period of time, you are going to gain weight on the scales and you're going to get heavier. Now, the part where most guys fuck up, and I fucked up myself, is that we are in such a lack. We have this hatred. We have this discontentment. We have this fear that we will always be skinny. We will always look like shit. So we want it fast. We want to fix our life fast. We want to get the attractive aesthetic body fast. So what do? We hear this, that we have to eat food and we want to eat everything in sight. Now, this is somewhat true. However, the biggest mistake that you will make is by bulking in an excessive amount, and you will just get fat. Because you have to understand, we are going to be training in the gym. Lifting weights is one of the key things that we have to do. However, building muscle is a very, very slow process, and over time it gets increasingly slower. So in the first maybe year of training, you can gain some kilos of muscle, some pounds of muscle, but up to year 3 and year 4 and year 5 and onwards, you are only going to gain like a few 100 grams of muscle per year, most likely, if you're lucky and if you're optimized. So the biggest mistake a lot of guys make is thinking that if they just fucking eat a shit ton of food, way more than their body needs, that they will just get muscle super quick. But all that's going to happen is the excess energy that can't be converted into muscle, because muscle is a slow process, it just turns to fat. And then all that happens is you waste your fucking time. Just like I did. You get too fucking fat and you look like a fucking fat chud, and you go from being too skinny to now being too fat. And then you have to cut back down and you lose the progress that you made, and you realize that you didn't actually build that much muscle in the first place. So what we need to do instead is actually be smart with this. We need to understand how much we need to eat. And then we need to understand that we're going to eat a little bit more than that, which basically means we're going to be in a calorie surplus. And that is how we're going to be able to gain weight efficiently and not blow our fucking body weight out of the fucking park and look like a water buffalo in 3 months. Because I remember when I literally sat down and I opened a box with my friend of 12 fucking donuts right in front of me, and we shared it and we completely crushed it. Not like cinnamon donuts, like the super like chunky chocolate, like ones with glaze on it and shit. We crushed that shit thinking that it was going to help us gain weight and build muscle. But all it led to was more fat gain and we looked like shit. So what you need to do instead of being like me is to go to a website called TDEE, Total Daily Energy Expenditure. It's going to ask you for some basic things like your body weight, like your height, like your gender and your exercise level. You're going to put all those things in and it's going to spit out a number, which is going to be a daily calorie intake for your maintenance. Now this means that that's how much you're going to eat throughout the day, how many calories you need to eat per day to maintain weight. But we're skinny as fuck right now, you're skinny as fuck right now, so you're trying to gain weight. So we need to eat 300 to 500 more than that number that it spits out per day. So if it says your maintenance calories is 2400, then that means we want to be eating 2700 to about 3000. Do not go over this. This is the biggest mistake, okay? If you go over this, you will simply get fat. You will not build as much muscle as you think. It is actually a way slower process, like I said before. So now you may be asking, well, what do I actually eat? What do we actually eat to get these calories and what are the right foods to eat? Well, I've been seeing this weird trend more and more and more over Instagram Reels and on the internet. And it's to basically eat what foods are present inside of Minecraft. Okay, everyone has played Minecraft and you know that the foods you can select from, well, they are all consisting of one thing. They are all natural and they are from the earth or they're from animals. Okay, so you need to make your diet mostly whole foods, mostly coming from animal products, vegetables, fruits, stuff that is actually from the earth, because this is going to give you the best performance and make you feel the best and make you be able to train harder and train effectively so you can build more muscle and optimize your lifting journey and then stop looking like a skinny loser. Now, the reality of it is you will need to eat some dirty food sometimes. It is hard to go from being a skinny guy with a shit appetite to gaining all this weight and having to eat a lot more food than what you're used to. So there are bound to be times that you're going to have to eat some slop, some bullshit, just to get the calories in day to day, okay? And if you have to do this, then I would not recommend listening to fitness influencers. You need to turn off your brain and stop listening to these guys that you're watching on the internet who make videos like every couple weeks, who do a big 10,000 calorie challenge. You've probably watched them yourself. They eat just donuts and KFC and a bunch of bullshit, just like I was doing myself, okay? And the reason they're doing this is because they have trauma and they have eating disorders and they can't control their obsession for food. What you need to do instead is understand that you don't need to go out of the fucking park and be a retard. Like, are you stupid? You don't need to go all this way and eat so many extra calories every single day. But if you do need to eat a bit more slop to get your calories to meet your intake throughout the day because you're struggling with appetite, what I recommend you do is have carb heavy foods that can be slop. So maybe you drink soft drink, maybe you have some sweets, right? But don't go out of the fucking park and just eat 10 zinger boxes from KFC, because you're just going to look like a fucking fat chud if you do that. Because like I said, time is going to pass either way, okay? And you can either take the slow and effective route of building muscle productively and not gaining too much fat alongside it, and then being in a good position as time passes. Or in the same time period, you could go and gain 10 extra kilos and it looks very good on the scale because your weight's gone up, but you look in the mirror and you look like fucking shit. Then you have to waste more time and stall your progress even more trying to cut down. And then when you're cutting down, that means you have to eat less food, which you can have less energy in the gym, so you're gonna slow your progression overall. Do not fucking do that. Eat whole foods predominantly. If you need to do some slop, that's fine, but do not fucking go over. Okay, calculate your TDE and stick to that pretty religiously. Step number 3 is to understand what we need to do inside of the gym, how we need to actually be lifting weights, because obviously we need to be lifting, right? Now, the principle that we need to follow when we are lifting weights in the gym is the Pareto principle. You've probably learned about it in school. It's the 80-20 rule. It says that 80% of the results we're going to get in life come from 20% of the inputs we actually do. Now, how does this apply to the gym? Because a lot of guys, myself included, we are chronic overthinkers. We think too much, we do too much fucking research, and we get caught up and we get confused, and then we just stall and we don't even take any action at all. So what you need to do is just turn off your brain right now and follow this advice. We are going to be doing the 20% of inputs that are going to give us the 80% of results. And what they are is what I like to call the staple 6 exercise patterns inside of the gym. So obviously we need to be lifting weights, but the exercises that we do matter. The staple 6 exercise patterns will cover 80% of the results that we are going to make in the gym, and they are also known as compound exercises. But we are going to be needing to do a vertical pushing movement, a vertical pulling movement, a horizontal pulling movement, a horizontal pushing movement, a hip hinge movement, and a hip flexion movement, okay? If you do these 6 movement patterns within your workouts, then I guarantee you, you will get most of the gains that you will ever get inside of the gym. Now, I do have a full system on what these exercises are, how you can structure them, and the full blueprint to actually building your body from shit genetics from the ground up. Check for it in the link in the description. But these are going to be basically compound movements, which are multi-joint exercises, such as squats, such as pull-ups, such as bench press, such as shoulder press, okay? These are the things that are going to engage the most muscles and be most time and energy efficient, because we want results. And the way we're going to get results is by doing the most effective things to get the best results. And I like to think of it like baking a cake. Imagine right now you were at a party and you were told that you have 10 visitors coming over in like 2 hours and you have to bake this cake, but you're on a time constraint, but you don't have all the things necessary, okay? Would you rather, I just want you to use your brain for a second, would you rather have a cake with no icing presented to the crowd, or would you rather have icing with no cake presented to the crowd? If you're not retarded, you would have said the cake with no icing, because the cake with no icing is still a viable product. It's still 80% of the way there. But the other 20% would have been, you know, the icing on the cake. The icing would have made the cake 100%. But if we don't have it, if we don't have enough time or efficiency or brain power or energy or whatever to make the icing as well, well, we would be happy with just having the cake, okay? Ideally, in an optimal world, we would have the cake and the icing. But this is the same thing in the gym. We want to be doing the things that are going to get us the bulk of the results, which is going to be the staple 6 movement patterns. We want to build the cake. Then we can do the other things like the bicep curls and like the fine tuning exercises, okay, to actually add the icing on top and get to that 100% mark. But the main thing is we want to be focusing on what truly matters and what gets us the biggest form of results. And when you do these exercises, you want to be going hard. You want to actually train hard. We want to use that hatred that I explained to you earlier to actually push hard, all right? You have to ask yourself, do you want to be looking like an alien inside of the gym when you're pulling faces and you're grunting and you're literally, I like to call it the tomato face fucking method, where you're literally pushing to the point when your head is going red and you feel like you're going to explode? Would you rather look like a bit of a spastic in the gym like that? Or would you rather not make the result and look like a fucking alien and have this shit skinny body that you have right now outside in the real world? Well, again, it's a pretty obvious decision. So follow the staple 6 exercise patterns and go super hard with them. Like, I smile so much when I'm in the gym and I see younger skinny guys who reflect what I saw in myself when they're training hard, when they're grunting, when they're grinding, when they're chanting. That makes me super happy, and you need to do the same. And step 4, which is the final thing which will truly make a difference and stop you from having a skinny body and actually start looking good, is to max out our testosterone. Now, not many guys are going to tell you to do this. Too many guys are concerned with just eating and lifting, but they're missing the biggest link to this all, which is how you're going to actually become a man in the first place, which is by maximizing your testosterone, the hormone that literally dictates every positive thing in a man's life, like motivation, like drive, like the amount of muscle he's able to build, how lean he can get, how good he can look. All these things are influenced by testosterone, and we are living in a testosterone crisis. Young men have the lowest testosterone ever due to how we're living, due to the external environment influences. So you need to optimize yours if you want to actually build muscle and build a better body and fix this skinny, disgusting, weak, feminine-like physique that you have. Now, the 3 things that you're doing, which I taught you previously, which are going to be eating the whole nutritious foods and being in a surplus, well, that's going to give you extra energy, which is going to allow your body to not be malnourished and therefore boost your hormones. Then you're going to harness the dark side and use this hatred as a positive motivator, which is also going to improve your ancestral kind of mentality and make you more driven, right? And then 3, we're going to be lifting weights, which is going to stimulate muscle growth and make us more manly as well. These 3 things are already going to be acting as boosts to our testosterone, because we want to be achieving this like ancestral caveman-like energy. We want to unlock the true man inside of us, okay? So these things are great, but there is one key action step that you can take right now. You can take it overnight tonight. I want you to do this, which will help you improve your testosterone instantly overnight and give you extra motivation to actually fix your skinny body. And that is concerned with our diet, and it's to start eating eggs right before you go to bed. The strategy is try this as well. I want you to try this and you will notice a difference in the morning tomorrow. Have 4 to 8 eggs before you go to bed tonight. Do this tonight. And I promise you, you will wake up in the morning with probably a fucking massive morning wood, okay, a pole poking through your bed sheets, and you will have way more motivation, because when we eat 4 to 8 eggs before bed, we're providing our body with enough nutrients to synthesize testosterone, because testosterone is made in the balls at nighttime. So you will wake up with way more motivation, way more testosterone in the morning, and you will actually feel good and you'll be motivated. And if you keep repeating this process, you will have the more motivation, you will have more intention to actually fix your body. So take the steps in this video and your life will change. This is the biggest thing I did to ever change my life. And if this video has helped you and given you some hope and some motivation and the instructions that you need to take, then subscribe, because it's my mission to share the wisdom and lessons I learned to become a better man, transform my life from skinny, insecure, weak, no confidence. And I want to teach other young guys the same path that I followed. And if you truly want to speed up your progress and want the full system on how to transform your life forever, I've made something for you in the link in the description. But with that being said, remember that progress is purpose, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.